Hello students, I am Sir Glenn, your subject teacher. Welcome to Pre-Calculus! Our fourth lesson is all about hyperbola. Ano nga bang ibig sabihin ng isang hyperbola? Hyperbola is one of the conic sections that most students have not encountered formally before, unlike circles and parabolas. So normally ang nai-encounter natin, especially in junior high school mathematics, yung circles and parabolas lang. A little bit of ellipse, pero hyperbola, parang hindi siya nabanggit or hindi na-introduce sa inyo nung junior high school mathematics ninyo. Its graph consists of two unbounded branches which extend in opposite directions. Dalawa yung branch ng ating hyperbola. It is a misconception that each branch is a parabola. This is not true, as parabolas and hyperbolas have very different features. Okay, so take note of that. Hindi magkapareho si hyperbola and parabola. Hindi parabola ang tawag sa branches ng isang hyperbola. Okay? Hyperbolas are used in basic location and navigation schemes. It can be used in so-called trilateration or positioning problems. It is possible to locate the place from which a sound, such as gunfire, emanates. Long-range aid to navigation, or LORAN for short system, the LORAN system of ship or aircraft utilizes hyperbolas. Let us consider the points f sub 1, which has coordinates negative 5, 0, and f sub 2, 5, and 0, as shown in the figure below. What is the absolute value of the difference of the distances of point A from f sub 1 and f sub 2? How about the absolute value of the difference of the distances of point B and f sub 1 and from f sub 2? So here are the solution. So unang question, ano daw yung absolute value ng difference ng distances of point A, which is this one, from point f sub 1 and f sub 2. So our solution will be, of course, the given. Let's try to identify first the distance between A and f sub 1. So distance of points A and f sub 1, we have x sub 1 minus x sub 2, kaya siya nag-positive kasi negative times negative is positive, plus we have negative 3 minus 0 squared. So 3.75 plus 5 is 8.75. Negative 3 minus 0 is negative 3. If we try to get the square of 8.75, the value will be 76.5625. And then negative 3 squared is positive 9. 76.5625 plus 9 is 85.5625, which is, if we try to obtain the square root of this value, the value that we will be obtaining is 9.25. Second one, how about the distance of point A to f sub 2, the distance of this point from f sub 2? Of course, we have the given. So using the distance formula, 3.75 minus 5 squared plus negative 3 minus 0 squared. So 3.75 minus 5 squared is negative 1.25, and then negative 3 minus 0 is negative 3. So negative 1.25 is, if we will square this, it will give us 1.5625. Then negative 3 squared is positive 9. So adding these values, we have square root of 10.5625, or its square root is 3.25. Then, if we try to obtain the absolute value of their differences, we have AF sub 1 minus AF sub 2 is equal to AF sub 1 is 9.25, AF sub 2 is 3.25. If we subtract that, it will give us 6. Okay, so yung absolute value ng difference ng distances nilang dalawa ay 6. Second question, how about the absolute value of the difference of the distances of point B from f sub 1 and from f sub 2? So yung point na to, anong distance daw nito from here at doon, at ano ang absolute value ng kanilang differences? Start sa una, the distance of points B and f sub 1. Of course, we use the distance formula. We have negative 5 minus negative 5 is, kaya siya nag-positive. Then 16 all over 3 minus 0 squared. So, 0 na yan, kaya naalis na. So, 16 all over 3 minus 0 is 16 all over 3. Since squared siya, we can immediately remove this one, the square root symbol, and then the square. It will give us 16 all over 3. The second one, B, the point B and f sub 2. The distances, we have negative 5 minus 5 squared plus 16 all over 3 minus 0 squared. This will be negative 10 squared plus 16 all over 3 minus 0 is 16 all over 3 squared. Negative 10 squared is 100. 16 all over 3 squared is 256 all over 9. The LCD is 9. 9 divided by 1. Automatic na may 1 yung denominator ni 100. 9 divided by 1 is 9. 9 times 100 is 900. 9 divided by 9 is 1. 1 times 256 is 256. So adding the two values in the numerator, we have 1156 all over 9 or 34 all over 3. Then, yung absolute value ng differences nilang dalawa, we have BF sub 1 is 16 all over 3 minus BF sub 2 is 34 all over 3. That is negative 6, or the value, the difference, the absolute value of their differences is 6, just like in the first question. There are other points P such that the absolute value of the difference of their distances is equivalent to 6. The collection of all such points forms a shape called a hyperbola, which consists of two disjoint branches. So our definition will be, let f sub 1 and f sub 2 be two distinct points. The set of all points P whose distances from f sub 1 and from f sub 2 differ by a certain constant is called a hyperbola. The points f sub 1 and f sub 2 are called the foci of the hyperbola. So ang tawag dito ay foci. And we take note of this formula. Pf sub 1 minus Pf sub 2 is always equivalent to 2a. Given our 2 points on the x-axis, f sub 1 with coordinates negative c0 and f sub 2 with coordinates c and 0, these are the foci. Both c units away from their midpoint, which is the center at the origin. This one. So let point P be a point on the hyperbola. This one is the point. Let the absolute value of the difference of the distances of P from f sub 1 and f sub 2 be 2a. So take note of this formula. Thus, the absolute value of the difference of Pf sub 1 and Pf sub 2 is equivalent to 2a. So, derivation of standard equation of a hyperbola with center at the origin. Since medyo mahaba din yung kanyang derivation, I'll just create a separate video for it, okay, for you to watch. Hindi ko na siya isasama dito kasi mas haba yung video if I will still include it here. Separate video na lang. Therefore, the standard equation of hyperbola with center at the origin is x squared all over a squared minus y squared all over b squared is equal to 1. So, may similarity silang dalawa ni standard equation ni ellipse. Si ellipse, positive yung operation. Ito naman ay negative. Okay? Properties of a hyperbola with center at the origin. So, may mga parts na siya. F sub 1, V sub 1, the center, V sub 2, F sub 2, and A and B. The center is at the origin. The coordinates are C is 0, 0, Z. C, point C, can be found at 0, 0. The foci, F sub 1, negative C0, and F sub 2, C and 0. Each focus is C units away from the center. So, take note of that. Yung distance ni focus, F sub 1 and C, ang value niya ay C. Okay? Take note of that. For any point on the hyperbola, the absolute value of the difference of its distances from the foci is 2a. Yun yung definition. P f sub 1 minus P f sub 2, the absolute value is 2a. Vertices, yung part na to, V sub 1 and V sub 2. The vertices are points on the hyperbola collinear with the center and foci. Kapag sinabing collinear, lying at the same line. Okay? They lie at the same line, as you can see. iisa yung line ni foci, vertices, at ni center. If y is equal to 0, then x is positive or negative a. Each vertex is a units away from the center, so take note of that. Laging a yung distance between any vertex to the center. A. Laging positive since distance, we are measuring the distance. The segment v sub 1, v sub 2, this part, is called the transverse axis. Its length is 2a. Transverse axis yung tawag dito. Ang length niya, ang haba niya ay 2a. Okay? Asymptotes, y is equal to b all over ax and y is equal to negative b all over ax. The lines L sub 1 and L sub 2 in the figure. Yun yung horizontal line, ay yung diagonal lines. Okay, asymptotes. The asymptotes of the hyperbola are two lines passing through the center, which serve as a guide in graphing the hyperbola. Each branch of the hyperbola gets closer and closer to the asymptotes in the direction towards which the branch extends. Okay? Palapit na siya ng papalapit doon sa ating asymptotes. An aid in determining the equations of the asymptotes, in the standard equation, the process is we replace 1 by 0, and in the resulting equation, x squared all over a squared minus y squared all over b squared is equal to 1, solve for y. So, para mahanap yung asymptote, para mahanap itong dalawang values na ito, we replace 1 using 0 at isolve natin si y. If you try to solve it, makukuha mo si y is equal to b all over ax and y is equal to negative b all over ax. The asymptotes L sub 1 and L sub 2 are the extended diagonals of the auxiliary rectangle drawn in the figure. This rectangle has sides 2a and 2b with its diagonals intersecting at the center C. Two sides are congruent and parallel to the transverse axes v sub 1 and v sub 2. The other two sides are congruent and parallel to the conjugate axis. The segment shown, which is perpendicular to the transverse axis at the center and has length 2b. Okay, so if you try to go back in that figure, ang tawag dito ay transverse axis. Ang tawag dito ay conjugate axis. Ito yung ating mga asymptotes. Okay? Ang length nito, ang length ng transverse axis ay 2a, ang length ng ating conjugate axis ay 2b. Take note of that. Okay? Example number 1. Determine the foci, the vertices, and asymptotes of the hyperbola with equation x squared all over 9 minus y squared all over 7 is equal to 1. For the solution, watch this video. So in this example, we will identify the foci, the vertices, and the asymptotes of this given hyperbola. So it takes the form x squared all over a squared minus y squared all over b squared is equal to 1. So definitely, si a squared ay equivalent kay 9. Solving for that, we have a is equal to 3. So bakit positive 3 yung consider natin? Kasi yung a, b, and c, those are measures of length. So walang length na negative, we consider the positive value. So b squared is equivalent to 7 kasi siya yung denominator ni y. So solving for b squared, we have b is equal to square root of 7. So bakit positive lang? Kasi again, length siya. So how can we solve for the value of c? We use this formula, b squared is equal to c squared minus a squared. So solving for c here, since equal silang dalawa, we can swap their positions. This will be c squared minus a squared is equal to b squared. Transposing negative a squared to the right, we have c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So para matanggal yung square ni c, we extract square roots. So this will be cancelled immediately. So the formula will be c is equal to a squared plus b squared. So take note of this formula. So, continuing the process, substituting the values of A and B, we have C is equal to square root of, what is A? A is 3, so 3 squared plus, what is B? B is square root of 7, so square root of 7 squared. So, we have 3 squared is 9, and then maalis na to, we have 7. So, 9 plus 7 is 16. So, the value of C here is 4. Since we already have the essential values, A, B, and C, mabibigyan na natin yung foci, vertices, and foci, vertices, and asymptotes. Okay, so, our foci will be, F sub 1 is, yung kasama ni foci ay yung C. So, we have negative 4 and 0. So, take note yung first, yung laging nauuna, yung negative na, na value. Okay? Negative counterpart C. F sub 1, V sub 1, negative yung kanilang value parate. Okay? We are talking about this standard equation. So, yung pangalawa naman, syempre yung positive nito, which is 4 and 0. Our vertices are, we have V sub 1, yung negative, yung sa vertex natin, A yung kasama niya. So, yung negative ni A, we have negative 3, 0. Yung co-vertex natin, yung vertex natin na pangalawa, we have 3, 0. And then, our asymptotes will be, we have Y is equal to B all over A. So, square root of 7 all over 3x. And then, the second one is Y is equal to negative square root of 7 all over 3x. So, these are our answers. Understood? For the second example, find the standard equation of the hyperbola whose foci are given, such that for any point on it, the absolute value of the differences of its distances from the foci is 6. See the figure. For the solution, watch this video. In this example, we find the standard equation of the hyperbola whose foci are given, such that for any point on it, the absolute value of the differences of its distances from the foci is 6. So, may given tayo na figure. Nakita natin that the center is at the origin. So, ano yung kailangan nating information ulit para hanap or maibigay natin yung standard equation? We need the values of A and B. Okay, so paano natin hahanapin yan? Since yung figure, ang kanyang center ay nasa origin, and then given yung foci, malalaman natin agad yung value ni C. Okay, so ano yung value ni C ulit? It is the distance between any focus to the center. So since 0, 0 yung ating center, at ang focus natin 5, 0, negative 5, 0, ibig sabihin ang value ng C natin ay 5. Yan yung distance from the center to any of the focus. Yan yung value ng ating C. So, given yung information na to, for any point on the hyperbola, the absolute value of the differences of its distances from the foci is 6. So, may definition tayo na ang ang absolute value ng differences ng distances from a point to any of the focus of the foci ay laging equivalent kay 2a. So definitely we can equate this one and this one. So solving for a, we have 2a is equal to 6, divide both sides by 2, so we have a is equal to 3. So meron na tayong a, meron tayong C, wala tayong B. So, how can we solve for the value of B? So, use the formula B squared is equal to C squared minus A squared. So, para malaman natin yan, for us to obtain the value of B, we extract square roots. Maka-cancel na yung square ni B. So, ang maiwan ay si B is equal to square root of C squared minus A squared. So, what is the value of C? C is 5, so 5 squared, minus A is 3, 3 squared, so that will be 5 times 5 is 25, 3 times 3 is 9, that is square root of 25 minus 9 is 16, 4, the value of b is 4. So therefore, since meron na tayong value ni a and b, we can substitute that sa standard equation na x squared all over a squared minus y squared all over b squared is equal to 1 para mahanap or makuha natin yung standard equation ng hyperbola. So therefore, our standard equation is x squared all over a is 3, 3 squared is 9, minus y squared all over b, the value of b is 4, 4 squared is 16, is equal to 1. So this is our standard equation. Understood? More properties of hyperbolas. Some hyperbolas have their foci aligned vertically, and some have centers not at the origin. Just like in our ellipses, may mga ibang klase pa ng hyperbola. Hindi lang siya horizontal, may vertical din na hyperbola. And then may mga types din na yung center ay wala sa origin. Their standard equations and properties are given in the box. Hyperbolas with center at the origin. So as you can see, ganyan yung form niya. Ang kanyang formula ay x squared all over a squared minus y squared all over b squared is equal to 1. This is the standard equation. Kapag wala kang nakita na h and k, yung center ay nasa origin. This is the case kapag siya ay horizontal. If vertical naman siya, as you can see, y squared all over a squared minus x squared all over b squared is equal to 1. Ang nauna na variable ay si y. So, yan yung technique. Horizontal siya kapag nauna si x. Vertical siya kapag nauna si y. Yung denominators nila hindi nagbabago. Laging nauuna si a followed by b. Take note, horizontal siya kapag ang nauna ay x. Vertical siya kapag ang nauna ay y. Hyperbolas with center at hk. As you can see, meron na siyang h and k here. Horizontal siya, nauna si x. Vertical siya kapag nauna si y. Okay? Here's a table containing the formula for the essential information like focus, the vertices, and the asymptotes. Okay? So, dito kayo magre-refer kung hindi nyo ma-memorize yung mga formula. Important observations. In all four cases above, c is equal to square root of a squared plus b squared. So take note of this one. Okay? So from this given formula, kung ang hinahanap natin ay si b or si a, we can derive the formula for them. If we try to solve for a, pwede mo itong gamitin para mag-derive ng formula. Kung kailangan mo si b, pwede nating ma-derive yung formula coming from this given formula. The foci f sub 1 and f sub 2 are c units away from the center. Take note, positive parati si c. The vertices v sub 1 and v sub 2 are a units away from the center. Laging positive din si a. The transverse axis v sub 1 and v sub 2 has length 2a. The conjugate axis has length 2b and is perpendicular to the transverse axis. Perpendicular, it forms a 90-degree angle. The transverse and conjugate axes bisect each other at their intersection point, which is the center. Each branch of the hyperbola gets closer and closer to the asymptotes in the direction towards which the branch extends. The equations of the asymptotes can be determined by replacing 1 in the standard equation by 0, and we solve for y. The asymptotes can be drawn as the extended diagonals of the auxiliary rectangle determined by the transverse and conjugate axes. For any point on the hyperbola, although in this part hindi ko naman na i-discuss kung paano i-graph, nabanggit lang siya dito sa ating lesson. For any point on the hyperbola, the absolute value of the difference of its distances from the foci is 2a. Yan yung isa sa mga pinaka-importanting tandaan. The orientation of the hyperbola is determined by the variable appearing in the first term. If the variable in the first term is x, the hyperbola is horizontal. Yan yung sinasabi ko kanina. On the other hand, if it is y, then it is vertical. Example number 3, give the coordinates of the center, the foci, vertices, and asymptotes of the hyperbola with the given equation. For the solution, watch this video. So in this example, we try to give the coordinates of the center, the foci, the vertices, and of course the line of the asymptotes of the given hyperbola y plus 2 squared all over 25 minus x minus 7 squared all over 9 is equal to 1. So, para malaman natin kung aling formula ang gagamitin natin for us to identify, kailangan muna nating alamin kung ito ay vertical or horizontal. So, doon sa ating previous lesson, sa ellipse, paano natin nalalaman kung vertical or horizontal siya? Si ellipse ay horizontal kapag nakita natin na mas malaki ang denominator ni term na may x. Okay, so si ellipse horizontal siya kung mas malaki yung denominator ni x. On the other hand, vertical siya kapag mas malaki ang denominator ni y. So different naman yung process, yung strategy, yung technique in identifying whether a hyperbola is a vertical or a horizontal hyperbola. So si hyperbola, horizontal siya kapag nauna si x. Bear that in mind. Si hyperbola, horizontal siya kapag nauna si x. Pero kung nauna naman si y, it is vertical. So definitely, since nauna si y dito, this is an example of a vertical hyperbola. So vertical yung hyperbola natin. Let's try to identify the center. The center here, syempre, ang coordinates niya ay h and k. Yung h laging kasama ni x at yung k laging kasama ni y. Since negative ito, we consider the positive counterpart. This is the value of h is 7. And positive ito, this is the value of k, we consider the negative counterpart, which is negative 2. Yan ang ating center. So para malaman natin yung foci, vertices, kailangan natin ng value ni A, B, and C. Okay? So, paano natin malaman yan? This is the value of A. So, take note, kapag hyperbola ang pinag-uusapan, parati talagang nauuna si A. Okay? A lagi yung nauuna. So, we have A squared is equal to 25. So, solving for the value of A here, we get A is equal to 5. And b squared is equal to 9. Solving for the value of b, we have b is equal to 3. How about the value of c? The formula is c is equal to square root of a squared plus b squared. So a is 5 squared, and b is 3 squared. So 5 squared is 25. And the 3 squared is 9, so that is square root of 34. That is the value of C. So, ready na tayong mag-substitute ng A, B, and C doon sa ating formula for foci, vertices, and asymptotes. Okay, so we have already the value of B, the value of A, and the value of C. So, our foci will be since vertical siya, ibig sabihin, ang mag-change na value ay yung value ni second coordinate. So, we have the formula is f sub 1. Hindi mababago si h. Ang mababago ay si y coordinate. We have k minus c. And f sub 2 is h and k plus c. So, ang ating vertices naman, we have v sub 1, so same lang siya. H, ang mababago ay yung y coordinate niya, k minus a. V sub 2 is h and k plus a. So, substituting the values of h, k, and c here, therefore our foci will be, the value of h is 7, the value of k is negative 2 minus c, which is square root of 24. We have negative 2 minus square root of 34. So, yung second na focus natin, we have 7 and negative 2 plus square root of 34. Our vertices, we have v sub 1 is h is 7, and k minus a, we have negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. So our second vertex, we have h is 7, and k plus a is negative 2 plus 5 is positive 3. Our asymptotes here, it takes the formula y is equal to positive and negative a all over b times x minus h and plus k. So substituting a, b, h, and k here, we have positive and negative. What is a? A is 5, b is 3, and a, x minus h is 7, and k is negative 2. So solving for the first asymptote, we have y is equal to 5 all over 3 times x minus 7 minus 2. So this will be, distribute this one here. We have 5x all over 3 minus 5 times negative 7 is negative 35 all over 3 minus 2. So that is 5 all over 3x. So this will be 35 all over 3 minus 2. So that is, the LCD is 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times 35 is 35. 3 divided by 1 is 3. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. So our first asymptote is 5 all over 3x minus, this will be 35. Negative 35 minus 6 is negative 41 all over 3. That is our first asymptote. Our second asymptote will be y is equal to negative 5 all over 3 x minus 7 minus 2. So distribute that to all the terms inside the parentheses. We have negative 5 all over 3x. Negative times negative is positive 35 all over 3, and then minus 2. So we bring down negative 5 all over 3x plus, the LCD here is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times 35 is 35. Understood na 1 yan. 3 divided by 1 is 3. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. So this will be negative. We bring down negative 5 all over 3x. 35 minus 6 is positive 29 all over 3. So these are our asymptotes, the first asymptote and the second asymptote, which is negative 5 all over 3x plus 29 all over 3. So our answers are our center, our foci, our vertices, and our asymptotes. Understood? Standard to general form. The standard equation of a hyperbola is given. This one is the standard equation if the given is a horizontal hyperbola, and this one if it is a vertical hyperbola. Transform it to its general form, ax squared plus bx squared plus cx plus dy plus e is equal to 0. We follow the following steps. Identify the LCD, then multiply it to all the terms of the equation to get rid of the denominators. Expand, then combine similar terms. Rewrite it in general form by writing on the left side of the equal symbol the squared terms, followed by the unsquared terms, then the constant term, and 0 on the right side. Okay, so same lang siya. Same lang yung process in converting a given ellipse to general form. Example number 4. Transform the following standard equation of a hyperbola to general form. For the solution, watch this video. In this example, we transform this given standard equation of a hyperbola to its equivalent general form. So first, let's identify the LCD. So here na lang siguro, the LCD is 16, 8. The factors of 16, we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. The factors of 8, we have 2 times 2 times 2. So, we draw a vertical line. Then, we bring down those numbers. So, we have the LCD is 16. So, we multiply to all the terms, the LCD. 16 times the first term is, pagkatabihin na lang muna natin, 16 times y plus 5 squared all over 16 minus 16 times the second term, we have 16 times x minus 3 squared, pagtatabihin na lang muna natin, x minus 3 squared all over 8 is equal to 16 times 1 is 16. So we can cancel this immediately. We have y plus 5 squared minus 16 divided by 8 is 2, and x minus 3 squared is equal to 16. So we expand this square of binomials. So y plus 5 squared can be expanded this way. Y squared plus twice the product of 5 and y. 5y times 2 is 10y. 5 times 5 is 25. Then minus 2 times the first term, x squared. Second term is twice the product of negative 3 and x. So negative 3x times 2 is negative 6x plus 9. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9 is equal to 16. So we just copy this, y squared plus 10y plus 25. We distribute negative 2 to all the terms inside the parentheses. So negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared. Negative 2 times negative 6x is positive 12x. And negative 2 times positive 9 is negative 18. Then we transpose positive 16 going to the left. It will become negative 16. Ang may iwan sa right side ay 0. So we arrange na. Mauuna yung x followed by y. So negative 2x squared comes first. Then positive y squared. And positive 12x. Followed by the unsquared y, 10y, and then plus 25, the constants, or yung mga terms na walang variable, 25, negative 18, negative 16 is equal to 0. So simplifying further, we just bring down 2x squared plus y squared plus 12x plus 10y. So negative 18 minus 16 is negative 34. Negative 34 plus 25 is negative 9, is equal to 0. So this is our general form for the given standard equation of a hyperbola. Understood? General to standard form. In order to write a given general form of a hyperbola to its standard form, we use the completing the square method. Then, divide both sides using the constant term on the right side of the equal symbol to make that number equal to 1. Then simplify afterwards. Example number 5, transform the following general equation of a hyperbola to standard form. For the solution, watch this video. In this example, we transform the given general equation of a hyperbola to its equivalent standard form. So, we will be making use of the completing the square method. So, how are we going to do that? So, una, pagsamahin natin yung mga terms na may parehong variable. So, 4x squared, then followed by negative 16x, followed by negative 9y squared, and then negative 18y. At yung constant term, ilalagay sa right side ng equal symbol from negative 29. Ito transpose natin siya. It will be positive 29. So, kailangan nating maalis yung 4. If a-factor out natin sila, kasi common naman sa kanila si 4. So, ilalabas natin si 4. May iwan dito ay x squared. May iwan doon ay 4x. Then, ilalabas din si negative 9 dito. So, ang may iwan dito ay y squared. And then, ang may iwan dito ay negative 18y divided by negative 9 is positive 2y. So, be careful in factoring the terms, especially this part, since subtract or negative yung nilabas natin, magiging positive yung nandito since negative siya. Okay, so how do we factor out ba? So, kapag nilabas natin sa negative 9 doon, it seems like we are dividing this entire term using negative 9. So, negative 9y squared divided by negative 9 is y squared. And negative 18y divided by negative 9 is positive 2y. Okay? Is equal to 29. So, we try to complete the square. So, paano natin kino-complete yung square? We add here the square of half the coefficient of the unsquared term or yung x, which is negative 4. So, we just copy x squared and negative 4x. We add here square of half this coefficient. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Then negative 9 times, this will be y squared plus 2y. Plus, so negative 2 divided by, positive 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Is equal to 29. Ito din yung confusing na part. So, ang i-add natin dito, since nag-add tayo dito, mag-add tayo dito ng mga terms na dinagdag natin. Since nagdagdag tayo ng 4 doon, pero meron pang 4 sa labas, we add to both sides 4 times 4. Okay, we add here 4 times 4, so 4 times 4. And then, nag-add tayo ng 1 dito, pero may negative 9 pa doon, so we add here negative 9 and 1. Okay, bakit negative? Kasi negative yung number na nasa labas ng parenthesis. Okay? So, since perfect square trinomial na to, pwede natin siyang i-factor out. Ang factors niya, we have x minus 2 squared minus 9 times. Perfect square na rin ito. Ang factors niya ay y plus 1 squared is equal to 29 plus this is 16 and minus 9. So, simplifying further, we just bring down this one. 9 times y plus 1 squared is equal to, so 29 plus 16 is 45 minus 9 is 36. So the last step, we divide to both sides this number. We have 36 and 36. So, simplifying further, we get x minus 2 squared all over 4 all over 36 can be simplified as 1 all over 9. Minus, we have 9 all over 36. 36 can be simplified as 1 all over 4. So, y plus 1 all over 4. Y plus 1 squared all over 4 is equal to 1. So, this is our standard equation for the given general form of a hyperbola. Understood? Example number 6. Give the coordinates of the center, foci, vertices, and asymptotes of the hyperbola with the given equation. For the solution, watch this video. In this example, we give the coordinates of the center, foci, vertices, and asymptotes of the hyperbola with the equation 4x squared minus 5y squared plus 32x plus 30y is equal to 1. Para mabigyan natin yung mga coordinates ng mga nabanggit, kailangan muna natin siyang i-transform into standard form to obtain the values of a, b, and c. So, how do we transform a given general form to standard form? We use the completing the square method. First step, pagsamahin lahat ng mga may magkakaparehong variables. So, 4x squared followed by 32x followed by the y, negative 5y squared plus 30y is equal to 1. Second step, we try to get rid of the numerical coefficient of the squared terms by factoring it out. So, common factor of 4x squared plus 32x is 4. So, ang maiwan dito, 4x squared divided by 4 is x squared. 32x divided by 4 is 8x. Same is true here. The common factor is negative 5. Lalabas natin sa negative 5. Ang maiwan dito ay Negative 5y squared divided by negative 5 is y squared. Positive 30y divided by negative 5 is negative 6y is equal to 1. We complete this binomial to make it a perfect square trinomial. So we just copy x squared plus 8x. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So we just bring down negative 5 times y squared minus 6y. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9 is equal to 1. Since nagdagdag tayo ng 16 doon pero may 4 pa siya, we include this one. Ang idadagdag natin sa right side ay yung product ni 4 at ni 16. Same is true sa part na to. Nagdagdag tayo ng 9 pero may negative pa doon. So we add here negative 5 times 9. The product of this number and the number outside its parenthesis. So perfect square trinomial na to, we factor it out. Ang factors niya ay x plus 4 squared, then minus 5 times. Perfect square trinomial na rin ito. Ang factors niya ay y minus 3 squared is equal to 1 plus 4 times 16 is 64. And negative 5 times 9 is negative 45. So we bring down this one. We just bring down this. And we simplify the constant term. So 64 plus 1 is 65 minus 45 is 20. The last step here, we divide both sides. We divide everything by 20. This kasi 20 yung nasa number sa right side ng equal symbol, divided by 20. Divided by 20 and divided by 20. So our standard equation is x plus 4 squared all over 5. Bakit siya 5? 4 all over 20 can be reduced to 1 all over 5. Then minus y minus 3 squared all over 4. Bakit siya 4? 5 all over 20 can be reduced to 1 all over 4 is equal to 1. So this is our standard equation. So our standard equation is x plus 4 squared all over 5 minus y minus 3 squared all over 4 is equal to 1. Since nauna si x, this is a horizontal hyperbola. So this is a horizontal hyperbola. So for us to identify the center, we look at the this term, yung numerator. So our center here is h is always paired with x. So since positive ito, we consider the negative counterpart, which is negative 4. And k is always paired to y. Since negative ito, we consider the positive counterpart. K is equal to 3. And solving for a, b, and c, since yun yung nauna, laging nauuna si a squared. Take note of that. We have a squared is equal to 5. Solving for this one, so we extract square roots. We have a is equal to square root of 5, and b squared is equal to 4. Taking the square root of that, we have b is equal to 2. Solving for c, we have c is equal to square root of a squared plus b squared. So a is square root of 5 and b is 2 squared. Matatanggal na to. So square root of 5 squared is 5 and 2 squared is 4. So we have square root of 9, or the value of c is 3. Meron na tayong essential information ni a, b, c at ng ating center h and k. We can now give the coordinates of the foci, the vertices and co-vertices. I mean, the foci, vertices, and asymptotes. Okay, so our foci here will be, since horizontal siya, hindi nagbabago si y, ang nagbabago ay si x. Okay, so f sub 1 is h minus c and k, and f sub 2 is h plus c and k. Our vertices are v sub 1, we have h plus a. I mean, this is h minus a, sorry. H minus a and k. And our v sub 2 is h plus a and k. So substituting h, c, and k, h, a, c, and k here, we have our first focus is h is negative 4. Negative 4 minus 3 is negative 7. K is 3. Our second focus, we have h is negative 4 plus c. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. And the value of k is 3. Our first vertex, we have h minus a. So negative 4 minus square root of 5. And the value of k is 3. Our second vertex, we have negative 4 plus square root of 5 and positive 3. And our asymptotes are, it takes the form y is equal to positive and negative b all over a times x minus h and plus k. So, ang ating asymptote ay y is equal to positive and negative 2 all over square root of 5 times x minus h is negative 4. So, negative times negative is positive 4 and plus 3. Since meron tayong radical symbol sa baba, hindi siya masyadong simplified. So, we try to simplify this first. We rationalize this. Okay, so, how do we rationalize 2 over square root of 25? We have square root of 25. I-multiply natin siya by square root of 25 all over square root of 25. Kasi, if we do that, parang nag-multiply lang din tayo ng 1. Since square root of 5 all over square root of 5 is equivalent to 1. So, we have 2 square root of 5 all over square root of 5 times square root of 5 is square root of 25. Square root of 25 is 5. Okay, so, this can be written as y is equal to positive and negative 2 square root of 5 all over 5 times x plus 4 plus 3. So, solving for the first asymptote, we have y is equal to 2 square root of 5 all over 5 times x plus 4 plus 3. So, multiplying this one to all the terms inside the parentheses, we have 2 square root of 5 times x all over 5 plus 2 square root of 5 times 4 is 8 square root of 5 all over 5. Then we just copy 3. Simplifying further, we get 2 square root of 5 all over 5x plus the LCD here is 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 times the numerator is the numerator, which is 8 square root of 5. 5, understood na may 1 yan. 5 divided by 1 is 5. 5 times 3 is 15. Since hindi na to mapagsasama, this is already our first asymptote. Our second asymptote will be y is equal to negative 2 square root of 5 all over 5 times x plus 4 and plus 3. So, distribute that to all the terms inside the parentheses. We have negative 2 square root of 5x all over 5. This will be minus, since negative times positive is negative. So, negative 8 square root of 5 all over 5 plus 3. Simplifying further, we get negative 2 square root of 5x all over 5 minus the LCD is 15. Or the LCD is 5, I mean. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 times the numerator is the numerator. 8 square root of 5. 5 divided by 1, understood na may 1 yan, is 5. 5 times 3 is positive 15. Since hindi na rin ito mapagsasama, this is our second equation of the asymptote. So therefore, our answers are this one, the center, the values of A, B, and C, the foci, the vertices, the equation of the asymptotes. Understood? Example number 7. The foci of the hyperbola are -5, -3, and 9 and -3. For any point on the hyperbola, the absolute value of the difference of its distances from the foci is 10. Find the standard equation of the hyperbola. For the solution, watch this video. So in this example, the foci of the hyperbola are given, and for any point on the hyperbola, the absolute value of the difference of its distances from the foci is 10. Find the standard equation of the hyperbola. So if we will plot this one in our Cartesian plane, we have nasaan si f sub 1. So yung negative na x ay nandito, 4, 5. And si -3 ay nandito. -3 ni y. So nandito yun. And our second focus is yung 9, positive 9, dito sa part na to. Dito yung 9 and -3 is dyan. So, dito yung f sub 1 and f sub 2. Since yung ating foci ay horizontal, ibig sabihin, this is a horizontal hyperbola. So, it takes the form x minus h squared all over a squared minus y minus k squared all over b squared is equal to 1. So, let's identify first the center, since kailangan yan dito sa ating standard equation, h and k. So, how are we going to solve for the center? Siyempre, yung center dito ay midpoint ni focus. So, asan ba yung midpoint nilang dalawa? So, to solve for the center, which is the midpoint of the two foci, we have m is -5 plus 9 all over 2 and -3 minus 3 all over 2. So, simplifying further, we get -5 plus 9 is 4. 4 all over 2. -3 minus 3 is -6 all over 2. So, therefore, our midpoint or the center is at 2 and -3. So, meron na tayong center. So, kailangan na nating hanapin ay yung values ni A, B, and C. So, since given yung foci at nahanap na natin yung center, we can directly or immediately identify the value of C. So, how? Ano ba yung C? Yung C, yun yung distance ni center to any of the foci. Okay, so, how are we going to solve for the C? So, we write here, solving for C. We obtain the distance between C and F sub 2. I'll just use F sub 2. Pero kung gusto ninyong gamitin si F sub 1, you can do so. Okay, so the distance between, let's say, the distance between C and F sub 2, or our C is equal to, since nasa horizontal line silang tatlo, nasa horizontal line si F sub 2 at si C, we just obtain the absolute value of the difference between 9 and 2, since magkapareho naman sila ng y coordinates. Okay, so we have 9 minus 2. So, this will be 9 minus 2 is 7. So, therefore, the value of C here is 7. How about A? Since given dito na for any point P, the absolute value of the distances from P to any of the foci, yung difference nila, absolute value ng difference nila ay 10, we can use the fact that PF sub 1, the absolute value of PF sub 1 and PF sub 2, the difference is always equivalent to 2A. Okay, since equal sila, we can equate 10 and 2A. Okay, so here, we solving for A, we have 2A is equal to 10. Divide both sides by 2, so we have A is equal to 5. And lastly, solving for B, we have, ano yung formula? B is equal to square root of C squared minus A squared. So what is C? C is 7 squared. What is A? 5 squared. So that is 7 squared is 49 minus 25. This is square root of 24, or that is B is equal to factors of 24. We have 4 and 6. The value B here is 2 square root of 6. 2 square root of 6. Since meron na tayong value ni A at B and H and K, all we have to do is to substitute these values sa ating standard equation. So therefore, our standard equation will be X. H is, what is the value of H? H is 2. So X minus 2 squared all over A is 5. 5 squared is 25. Minus K is negative 3. So negative times negative is positive 3 squared all over B is 2 square root of 6. If that is squared, that is equivalent to 24, is equal to 1. So this is our answer. Understood? Example number 8. A hyperbola has vertices negative 4, negative 5, and negative 4 and 9. And one of its foci is negative 4, 2 minus square root of 65. Find its standard equation. For the solution, watch this video. In this example, a hyperbola has vertices negative 4, negative 5, and negative 4 and positive 9. And one of its foci is negative 4 and 2 minus square root of 65. Find its standard equation. So if we will plot the vertices in the Cartesian plane, so nasaan si negative 4, negative 5, so if x is negative 4, y will be negative 5, so nandito yung v sub 1 natin. And our v sub 2 is, if x is negative 4, y will be positive 9, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So definitely, andito yung ating v sub 2 sa taas. So, ibig sabihin, since vertically aligned yung ating vertices, this is a vertical asymptote. I mean, vertical hyperbola. So, it takes the form y minus k squared all over a squared minus, we have x minus h squared all over b squared is equal to 1. Okay, so let's identify the center. How can we identify the center? Take note, ang center ay yung midpoint ng dalawang vertices natin at midpoint ng ating dalawang foci. So since given yung dalawang vertices natin, we can identify the center by solving for the midpoint. So we have negative 4 minus 4 all over 2 and negative 5 plus 9 all over 2. Solving for, continuing the process, we have negative 4 minus 4 is negative 8 all over 2. Negative 5 plus 9 is 4 all over 2. Or the midpoint or the center is negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Ito yung ating center. Meron na tayong value ni h at ni k. So how can we solve for the value of a? Since nakuha na natin yung center, yung a, yun yung distance between the center and any of the vertices. Para mahanap yun, we can use the center and any of the vertices and solve for the distance. Okay, so we have solving for A, I'll just use V sub 2 and C. The distance between C and V sub 2, or that is A, is since nasa vertical line silang dalawa, we consider the difference of the coordinates na hindi pareho. Since pareho sa negative 4, we consider 9 and 2. So that is 9 minus 2. So the value of A is 7. So solving for C, we can solve for C kasi given yung center at isang focus. Okay, so alam naman natin na yung C, yun yung distance between the center and any of the foci. So we have the distance between the center and the foci is equivalent to C, since vertically aligned din si center at si given na focus, we get the absolute value of the difference of the coordinate na hindi sila magkapareho. Si 2 minus square root of 65. So that is 2 minus square root of 65, then minus 2. So matatanggal na ito. So absolute value of negative square root of 65 is square root of 65. So this is our value of C. So now, solving for, I'll just do it here. Solving for B, since yung B yung kailangan natin dito, we use the formula B is equal to square root of C squared minus A squared. What is C? C is square root of 65. And then squared natin siya. Minus A squared, A is 7. 7 squared. So that will be matanggal na yan. We have 65. 7 squared is 49. So 65 minus 49 is, we have 16. Or the value of B here is 4. Since meron na tayong value ni HK at ni A and B, all we have to do is to substitute these values sa ating standard form. Therefore, our standard form will be y minus k is 2, so y minus 2 squared all over A is 7 squared is 49, minus x minus h is negative 4, so negative times negative is positive 4, squared all over, we have b is 4 squared is 16, is equal to 1. So this is our answer. Understood? For the activities, supplemental activity 1, determine the foci, vertices, and asymptotes of the hyperbola with equation x squared all over 16 minus y squared all over 20 is equal to 1. The second problem, find the equation in standard form of the hyperbola whose foci are given, such that for any point on it, the absolute value of the differences of its distances from the foci is 8. Second supplemental activity. Give the coordinates of the center, foci, vertices, and asymptotes of the hyperbola with equation 9x squared minus 4y squared minus 90x minus 32y is equal to negative 305. Second item, a hyperbola has vertices 1, 9, and 13 and 9, and one of its foci is negative 2 and 9. Find its standard equation. And for the third and fourth activities, do what's more on page 72 and what I have learned on pages 72 to 73. So submission of all outputs will be until Monday.